Hi everyone, my name is Natasha Gideon, and you're tuning in today to talk about the theme AI in technology, artificial intelligence in technology. Our theme today would be From Code to Concrete, AI's transformational influence on manufacturing and agriculture. Today we have with us two very special guests that have taken their time out of their busy schedules, and we'll get to know them. Thank you so much for coming. We have, first of all, Navin Sinnathamby from MDEC. Navin is the Head of Department of the Digital Agriculture and Drone Technology Ecosystem at MDEC. Do you mind sharing with us what that means?
Sure. Greetings from the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation. My name is Navin, as mentioned by Ms. Natasha earlier. Really glad to be here and honored to be here for the third year for ADAPT. Thank you so much for the esteemed IQI team. Quick check. So digital agriculture technology and drone ecosystem is pretty much encouraging farming associations or farmers across the country to adopt technology solutions, specifically Internet of Things, IoT, big data, and the theme today, artificial intelligence, towards improving productivity, increasing income, and reduce operational costs. Because the hot topic across the globe today is about technology and food security.
Thank you so much, Navin. And second of all, we have Leonard Tan, the CEO of Ailytics, and you specialize in the artificial intelligence for industrial safety and productivity. Do you mind sharing with us more about that?
Yeah, certainly. Similar to, just wanted to thank everyone for inviting us down today for this panel discussion. But like what Ms. Natasha mentioned earlier, I'm Leonard Tan, the founder and CEO of Ailytics, and we specialize by tapping into existing cameras, normally connected already or are existing at sites, and turn those video footages into meaningful insights, right? They can be about safety, security, productivity, progress, everything to do with machinery, everything to do with humans. But at the end of the day, all these insights, they have certain ways that they are being used differently by different people. We are also here to make sure that they are used in the right way and the way that helps to make sure that everyone moves forward together with the times.
I see. So you turn visuals into data, and eventually,
yep.
That's where all this comes from, big
Correct,
data,
exactly.
AI, etc.
Correct,
Okay, fantastic. So we're going to move on to our first theme, and the first theme we're going to drill Leonard Tan. We're going to talk about the role of AI in operational efficiency. All right, so my first question is, how is artificial intelligence, particularly in video analytics, being utilized to enhance operational safety and efficiency in construction and manufacturing?
Okay, I think in these two industries, they are quite known to be more the legacy conservative industries. That means that there are still a lot of manual processes today. Things like checking, doing quality checks, taking shortcuts sometimes because of tight pressures or the management asking them to take shortcuts, or even stealing stuff from the site, right, almost on a weekly basis, and that's what we have observed. So what we are just trying to do here is to use very, very inexpensive cameras. They are already commonly found sometimes at the site, maybe used for surveillance purposes, but no one really looks at them until something happens and then everyone tries to search for the footage. But we want to kind of bring that up front, right? We want to do more of the predictive stuff. So we kind of monitor things like safety hazards, like standing under any kind of suspended loads, going too close into the line of fire of operating machineries, doing quality checks for manufacturing lines for goods, or even sorting out of equipment or materials on conveyor belts. So there's many use cases and applications in these particular domains, but we are really focusing on the manual ones that are really consuming a lot of manpower at the moment as a first cut to really aid these companies to improve their safety and efficiency.
This is just a follow-up question from me, just out of curiosity. Has this increased the productivity for those or your clientele?
Yep.
And do you have an estimate of how much that increased?
Good question. Always the numbers are important, and we do have some numbers. So we have more than 40 active deployments as of today. What we have seen generally, the productivity increase is within the 20 to 40% region. This can come in the form of reallocating of manpower or headcount to other duties. This can come in the form of increased productivity because they catch more issues in the start of the line or in the earlier part of the process compared to when they need to handle it much later by refunds or returning goods and services. So these are the more direct ones. On top of that, we have seen also many incidents that we have captured, unsafe acts, behaviors at the sites. A lot of these insights, people know that they are happening, right? But they don't really have the evidence until now. So a lot of this information are then used to also incentivize the good behaviors, but also to reinforce the negative ones and to ensure that at the end of the day, everyone has a job to do and everyone has families to go back to. We want to make sure that really happens. Yeah.
It's very interesting. So it's not just productivity, it's not just numbers, it's also holistic, how you act and how you carry yourself. Very interesting. I have a second question for you. Okay, third lah. Can you share specific examples how AI-driven solutions have improved processes or reduced risks in these industries?
Okay. I always like to compare what we do for safety to the speeding camera system, right? So sometimes if I were to tell, let's say, workers and subcontractors at the site or in the plants that this is happening, some behavior would already change. Yep. It's very preventive, right? But some people will be like, is this real? Is this fake? Is this camera just there for show? And then they might still do certain acts or things that are unsafe. And then when the evidence comes, when we have the imagery, we have the video, we have the statistics and the data, and those are shown to the workers, those are shown to the subcontractors, then that would really be the kick in where they say, oh, okay, I cannot, play now. I need to, really follow procedures and protocol for their own benefit and for their own safety, right? It's important. So we have noticed these very, very clear trends. Normally within the first 2 months, the impact will be quite huge because everything starts to be uncovered. The actual end users start to use these insights and then they change over time. And then for the second group, when it comes to productivity and efficiency, sometimes there's some skepticism around it, right? Like, how good can this be? Is it really better than a human? And all these kind of things. But we have to, normally we deploy, we let them fill out the system for a bit. We let them look at the data and then also do some manual comparison from time to time to slowly transition to more of this. I think that process has to be there because these industries are still more on the legacy side. You cannot just dump some technology onto them and expect them to know how to use it or use it effectively. So we have to do a lot of that hand-holding with them. But eventually what we notice is that, yes, the technology is able to match up to what they expect in certain areas, and we focus a lot on that.
Since this is digitized and it's AI, I would assume that it's very easy to use. Is there a lot of hand-holding in the process?
I would say at the start, yes, they tend to be, but it takes two hands to clap, right? So on our side, we can do as much as we can. We can give them trainings, we can give them guide, we help them along the way. But on the other hand, I think management sometimes is also very important, not always on the workers, but the mindset of the management and the culture within that company or that organization has to also be willing and open to adopting and trying out technologies for the better of their operations, right? Because sometimes they might just look at very short-term, near-term, things, right? They might look at, the cost of this, but they might not have the ROI in mind, or they might not know what's the benefit. And all this education has to be done. I think it's very important in order to not only ensure a smooth transition, but also to increase eventual adoption across all these industries. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we've got a lot of gold nuggets from there. I'm mind blown. We're going to move on to the second theme, which is AI's contribution to sustainable agriculture and manufacturing. And as we know just now, this is our agriculture guru, Navin. I'm going to ask you some questions, okay? So in the context of agriculture and digital ecosystems, how is artificial intelligence helping to address sustainability challenges?
Sure. Very good question. Now, in alignment to MDEC's mandate, we are a government agency under the Ministry of Communications and Digital with the mandate of driving digital transformation across key economic sectors towards boosting digital economy. I know that's a big word said, but digital transformation is very closely associated with digital technologies, or we call it the fourth IR technologies. So you have seen the transition of IoT, Internet of Things, which we call sensors, towards data, big data driven into, if you can imagine an Excel sheet with lots of data. But nowadays, we no longer just look at the data. We populate graphic figures, charts, statistics from that Excel sheet. So that graphic figures precision is what we call artificial intelligence. Agriculture is the least digitalized sector across the globe. I think we all know that. So from what Diana said, from manufacturing to somewhere matured to a getting matured industry, which is agriculture, AI is now kicking in quite fast. Why? Before this, we have always been in the stage where you do, I follow. It's always been the perspective across the globe. But COVID taught us a very important lesson. Yeah, challenges aside, but COVID taught us was digital technologies are here to help your livelihood, to help operations of businesses towards the betterment. Yeah, so now even the smallest farmer, we call small farmers at farmers with 2 to 5 acres land, are already using some form of AI technologies. Again, when you say AI, I'm going to give you all a simple test. I mean, we're all stressing out sitting in front here. Now, show me your palm. Great. So, ladies and gentlemen, your palm is literally nowadays used to measure the size of the chili plantation, the chili crops. Yeah. If the chili is longer than your palm, that's a grade A. In between your palm, that's a grade B. If it's circle and cripple, that's a grade C. Now, imagine there are 6 workers in a farm, literally sitting every day with their hands pointed out, measuring chili by chili, which takes up about 8 hours. Again, first 2 hours, we are all active. Then we are humans, we tend to get tired. But artificial intelligence does not get tired. It works 24 hours across the clock. It does not stop for anything. Yeah. So nowadays, we are able to not eliminate the farmers, but repurpose them, like what Leonard said, to do other things, to manage the farms rather than doing chili trading. An example, a very classic example, if I could put it.
Right. And my personal follow-up question. So how do you get the farmers to use this without them fearing that AI will take over their jobs?
Sure. Now, for us at MDEC or across the globe, you can talk about technologies, you can talk about IoT data or even AI. Number one, not many people know. Number two, the perception that is this going to work? Is this going to take over my job? Is this going to ruin my business? Has always been there. Hence why success stories or pilot projects, or in our way of saying it, resumes are very, very important to tell the rest that, hey, I've tested these projects. It has created impact of 20 to 40% across agriculture sector. And to just touch on what Leonard said, using AI in agriculture, for example, chili plantation has also showed us 20 to 30% income or productivity improvement. But I'm going to take it one step higher. Every single farmer in example, chili plantation, using artificial intelligence in their farming are now able to increase their productivity up to 20%, which is equivalent to 2,000 ringgit extra per month per acre. Now, for a farmer, 2,000 ringgit additional per month is lucrative. This is what drives them to use more AI solutions because productivity, improvement of income, and also reduction of operational costs is the key factors why a farmer would use AI in farming or agriculture.
Very interesting. I think that when we say AI, we are thinking, robots taking over the world and things like that. So I think the language that we use is also very important. How you explained it just now, how data becomes, like the Excel sheet becomes the AI that we want to use. I think that's very important. And I'm really glad that farmers are getting to use this type of technology because we do have a lot of potential in our Malaysian soil.
But if I could just tap on that
Go ahead.
a bit. AI is something that people wanted to use. It's the brand of the day or the hot topic of the month, yeah, of the year maybe. But before this, another restriction why farmers did not want to go into AI is because they did not have data. See, Leonard and myself can talk about AI all day long or all year long, yeah. But without data, AI will not work. So before this, farmers did not have IoT or sensor-based systems. These systems then furnish data, which they keep somewhere. But nobody has ever looked at it. Yeah. So now we tell farmers, hey, all the data that you have can be now transformed into something we call as precision farming to tell you when to plant, when to water, how much to water, when to fertilize, how much to fertilize, which is very important towards the productivity. So data is, or we call it machine learning algorithm, is the key to adoption of AI.
Right. And the farmers won't go out of a job either, because you will
Not at
still need the human input
So
for the AI
the
to
way
work.
we call it is that we are not removing anyone from their jobs. We are just reskilling and upskilling them to be more digital savvy. Yeah. So that's why, just to share, MDEC is now the officially appointed National Strategic Technology Validator by KPKM, which is the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. So our job or role is also to validate technologies across agriculture, which includes AI, of course.
I see. Okay. All right. Thank you. Third question.
Sure.
What are some innovative ways that AI is being used in resource optimization and reduced environmental impact, benefiting the agricultural and manufacturing sectors?
Sure. So ESG is another hot topic right now. But ESG for agriculture is derived into four things. In layman perspective, water quality, soil condition, carbon emission, and also environmental. Yeah. So now a farmer who knows how much to fertilize or how much to water can save planet Earth. Too much of fertilizers will ruin your crops. Not only that, will ruin the environment because it becomes too acidic or toxic. Yeah. Using AI, a farmer is able to know how much fertilizer has been put on the ground compared to how much he is supposed to put on the ground. Yeah. Right now, for example, parents at home, friends out there watching this live, now at home when you see a plant getting, all faded and not healthy, we will tend to water or fertilize. But we do not know, are we doing it right or are we doing it according to the right quantity? AI will help to answer that for you.
I see. So I guess I need AI because all my plants are dying. My cactus is dead. A little bit of AI in our lives will help us a lot, actually. So, all right. So we're going to dive into our third theme, which is overcoming challenges in AI adoption. And this is going to be more of an open discussion. So I'm going to throw a question out there, and whoever, if it feels right to answer, please go ahead. My first question is: can you, any one of you, share examples of how AI projects in your industries initially faced resistance or skepticism, and how did you navigate these hurdles to ensure successful implementation? Anyone want to go first, Leonard?
Maybe I'll go first.
All right.
I think we did touch on some of these topics earlier, but I would just like to bring to one very succinct example that happened recently, right? So we got a new project. We went there, we did a kickoff meeting, right? We were installing the software, the hardware and everything. The whole team was there, the construction contractors, the safety team, the project management team. But at the end of the meeting, after we set up everything, someone just tendered his resignation on the spot in front of everyone. The head of safety. And the reason he did that, and it was a spectacle, but he said that, he knew what was coming, not because that the AI was going to find him or something like that, but it was going to highlight a lot of things that he knew that was happening already, but because the management he already voiced it out, and the management did not really want to do anything about it. But now, if let's say this thing comes in, he was afraid that the management would then use this against him, and then there will be issues. So what I wanted to draw from this example is that sometimes the technology, when we deploy systems we don't only go about teaching end users how to use it. It's a full package. We have to let the end users management know or give some suggestions on how best to use this information with their own workers or employees or subcontractors, because some of them also like to issue out a lot of fines. They just, everything, any issue, fine. The more fine you do doesn't mean that it will be better, right? Yeah. They will not like to work for you, and then eventually that's not going to be good for anyone. So a lot of these challenges, what we try to do is to educate the management, educate the client, educate the developer, how this information should be used, how people should be incentivized as well, and how this should be positioned as a whole improvement package for the whole thing. And that's one very clear example that just wanted to bring to light. Yeah.
And how did you move forward from that?
Forward. I think at the start, we always try to, during the first 2 months of deployments, normally that's when a lot of the, how to say, skeletons in the closet will start to come out, right? Because this is the first time they are starting to get real insights on what's happening at the site. What we try to always say, and sometimes we'll monitor the conversations between the parties, because you have the workers, you have the management, then you have the client or the developer or the building owner in these industries. And we'll monitor the first 2 months. We said, okay, you just use this, you highlight in your daily safety meetings, you highlight in your what they call toolbox meetings or monthly safety reports, but don't go ahead and take action first, because sometimes the moment they say certain things, people will start to understand, they'll start to hide, or they'll start to sometimes even turn off the equipment or even destroy the equipment to some extent. But we then collect the first 1-2 months of data. We actually have what we call a first milestone meeting with the team and also the developer or the client or the main contractor. And then that is where we tell them and guide them how to convey this information to the team and go through suggestions. Because sometimes some of the things that our AI highlights, for example, there was a site where a lot of vehicles were taking the shortcut, right? They were just going the wrong way because they didn't want to go the long route and waste time. But what the AI has highlighted is that it's not if they don't fix this routing problem, it will just continue to happen, right? So there are certain insights that is, even they cannot just keep finding the driver, right? Nothing will change. They need to kind of understand how to fix this route. So some of the insights are for them to fix certain things, certain processes, improve certain procedures that they do. Some things are more clear-cut. They have to identify what is the root cause of this. Why is this particular subcontractor or worker repeating the same thing over and over again, right? Is it a systemic problem? Is it a management problem? Is it his subcontractor, his supervisor that is putting pressure on him? Is he taking shortcuts? Is he working too long hours? That's why he's fatigued. Then we start to really drill down into, help them to understand that you have to drill down into these root issues, and then try to find solutions for them. If we only talk about the surface level issues on what happens on the surface and look at the video and the imagery data for a lot of this stuff, then we will never really solve the root problem.
Yeah, and I guess AI is good that way, that it's not biased towards just the staff or just towards the management. It's just a collection of what's wrong and how can we move forward. From your side,
I'll just probably top on to what Leonard said earlier. But to summarize, he captured most of it. But to summarize, challenges will always be there across sectors, across technologies per se. Whether it's manufacturing, healthcare, retail, right, up to agriculture, challenges are diverse. But to summarize, number one, in terms of perceptions, that technology is here to take our jobs. The answer is no, right? Number two, in terms of readiness, are you ready to adapt technology for the betterment? Some people will say, you know what, I'm already earning revenue, I'm already doing great. Do I need that? They will say, no, why not? But if you don't, you either sink or sail. Yeah, that's the perception. Number three, in terms of availability of data. Now, all of us have data in multiple forms here. Would you share data? Of course, the answer typically by reflex would be no. Yeah. But question is, would you be open to sharing data if it's going to improve your livelihood, your productivity, and your income or your businesses? The answer would be yes, because people tend to take it more personal. It's for me. Again, AI is not for anybody specific. It's for all of us, for our own usage. Yeah. So challenges aside, readiness, perceptions, whether availability of data is there. But success stories to us was very, very important. When we first started doing projects for agriculture, same concern. Is this technology good? Is this endorsed? Can I use it? Will it ruin my farming operation? Will it ruin manufacturing operations? Or what happens if the system fails? Am I going to go on loss? Tons of questions will come, which is very normal, which is fine. But that's when we stepped in and said, you know what, let's try this in a pilot scale, a small pilot scale to tell them, hey, Using AI, you are able to increase productivity, income, revenue, reducing operational costs by 20-30%. And when management or of an organization sees that, they go like, wow, this is impressive. Why not? Like I said earlier, if a farmer is able to get 2,000 ringgit extra per month per acre using AI, will he be open to share data? Yes, he would, because that's for his betterment. Yeah. So success stories was very important. That's also when we started getting a lot of buy-in from the banks who came in and said, look, we will then fund technology companies and also farmers to adopt technologies. So success stories, in our resume words, is experiences matter. So success stories was very, very crucial to get buy-in. And now in Malaysia, success stories has actually, from sustaining, has actually scaled to become mega-sized projects. Yeah.
I see. So the human experience or the human data comes back, right? Like
Of course.
everything just goes back to the human experience and what other people have benefited from AI.
If I could just top up.
Go ahead.
On a daily basis, one thing that catches us is our financial status. So you get your salary and then mid-month you are literally broke, which happens to most of us, yeah, including me. Yeah. So I'll put myself here first. But if there is an AI algorithm who can plan your finance to be able to sustain you throughout the month, would you try it? Yes. So we use smartwatches these days. Why? Is this because you can't measure your own heartbeat? No, it's because that's going to ease your job by looking at the screen and saying, hey, my heartbeat, it's a bit high, I need to walk further. Saying it or not, realizing or not, all of us are using AI in multiple forms, just that we don't scale it.
Yeah, that's I think we don't see it because, like I mentioned earlier, the when we mention AI, it's always this huge thing that we don't really understand. It's maybe like robots and things like that, but it's just things that are in our daily life already. We live in the age of the Internet of Things, big data. We're already living with
Your
AI
shopping
actually.
app, right?
Yeah,
Your
exactly.
recommendations.
Yeah,
so
and there
many-
are already
yeah.
actually like financial apps, right?
Yeah.
That we are using. So yeah, I guess I'm going to move on to maybe closing remarks. We're going to ask both of you just the summary of what we've been talking about. So maybe I'll go with Navin first.
Sure.
Looking ahead, what do you see as the most exciting AI-driven prospects for your industry, and how do they contribute to a sustainable future?
Sure. For those who are watching this live across the globe, remember AI is here to improve your livelihood, whether it's your revenue, your daily lifestyle, or your operations per se. So AI is here not to replace you in any way, but it's here to help you to make better of yourself, your businesses, and all that. Yeah. But with that said, for example, if agriculture sector per se, being the most traditional sector across the globe, if agriculture is already using AI these days, I'm assuming all the other sectors should be leaping ahead. No one stops behind. Everyone marches forward. So the way forward for the nation across the globe is to use AI across other sectors, all sectors per se. Now, let's say agriculture alone. If a farmer is able to produce, example, again, touching the chili story, is able to produce 2,000 kilograms per harvest cycle. If all the chili farmers in Malaysia is using AI to increase the productivity, we can reduce the national's food import. We do not need to be dependent on a foreign country for import, which means we are self-sustainable. That also is going to reduce the country's expenses for food imports, which is going to boost the digital economy. So again, AI is for all of us for the betterment.
Ah, fantastic. I also hope to see agriculture leap forward. We are actually the differences between us and countries like Thailand, who are very advanced, even without AI. We have the same potential, right? So I really hope to see the lack of dependence that Malaysia has towards foreign exports. And for you, looking ahead, what do you see is the most exciting AI-driven?
Yeah, I have kind of three wish lists, just stepping on what Navin already mentioned. The first one is more on the affordability. right? So AI, there are some that are ready for the masses. We talked earlier about shopping apps and financial apps and certain things like this, but for certain industries, it's still kind of costly, right? So my hope is that, you know, hardware and software advancements will always be leaps and bounds. Eventually, AI should be very affordable, not only for the general masses and consumers, but also for businesses, industries, and everyone as a whole. That's my first kind of wish, and we are very, very closely monitoring that. We do a lot of advancements to make sure we can drive down operating costs, to give some of the value back to our customers as well. The second thing is that AI, the term AI is quite a wide scope, right? There are many different, there's more like language AI, there's vision AI, there's sound AI, there's many different verticals. But I think what is important is that eventually all these would have to work together in some way or form, right? So what you see today are sometimes very narrow industry verticals. Maybe they do for speech, maybe they only do for vision, but they all should come together and everything will be well integrated. And in the AI world, we call that multimodal. That means, for example, you can talk to your phone. The phone might help you to order whatever ingredients that you might be missing from your kitchen, right? And then deliver all the way back to your house just by giving one simple command. So a lot of these things have to come and play and work together. The third thing I would say is eventually also automation and robotics. That is kind of the next step, right? So I think what Navin mentioned earlier already, there's the data phase, right? Through sensors, through cameras, through any other means. And now we are trying to make sense of it using AI, machine learning, big data to analyze this and to provide insights and sometimes to execute. But eventually the third stage then is robotics, right? To fully automate the whole thing. Robotics is already there for a lot of, I will call it more singular tasks, right? They are very good in doing one particular thing over and over again, or very complex thing, but over and over again. I think we will see robots more and more in our lives, right? As aid to companies, maybe in the form of tools or virtual assistants at certain locations, or especially, you know, for companies, maybe the elderly, or so many different industries can benefit from this. But that would kind of close the loop. You now have the thing where humans can either focus more on, you know, the creative work, they can focus more on working alongside AI and thinking about how to improve and betterment of their lives and in general as a society. I do have one more wish. I forgot the fourth wish. It's not too much to ask. But the other thing, I think a lot of cross-border collaboration, especially in these times of very high geopolitical tension. There are, at least in the AI world that we are in, we notice a lot of sometimes restrictions on chips, on hardware, on software. You know, I do hope that AI gets into the right hands and for the right purposes and for the right use as well, because they are good, and I would say they are, if I would call it bad AI, right? Bad AI might be people using it for deep fakes, right? People using it for fraud, people using it to do a bunch of stuff that just goes in the reverse of whatever we are trying to do. So although AI is a tool, I think we also need to improve the AI literacy of everyone and cross border collaboration between countries, companies, and also the government and different agencies to all come together in more collaborative effort to do this. Because if we start crossing that line of the blurry line, and I would say we are already in that very blurry line, sometimes you can't really tell if the certain images are real or fake online nowadays, right? So it's a very, very thin line, and we're already crossing it. And if we don't be careful, the minorities or the people who are not so literate about AI, they will get left behind and they will get hurt or something bad would happen. So I do hope that we also look at that aspect as well.
I agree, and I think that everyone should at least know a bit about AI so that there's transparency on both ways as well. Like you say, if someone wrongly uses, I think the counter to that would be being able to identify what is right, what is wrong, etc. Last random question. Do you think there is anything that AI cannot do, Navin?
No,
Nothing.
nothing.
No aspect in your life?
Not at all. AI is here to make the better version of you yourself. So we call it AI for you, with you, together. Yeah. But just to touch on what Leonard said, it takes two hands to clap. Yeah. Through Adapt platform, which is why we are very grateful today. It's very important to have cross collaborations across stakeholders, industry partners, ecosystem, which is financial institutions, academias, students, me, you, everybody. Together, we can make a better impact with AI.
Okay,
Leonard, is there any aspect that AI just cannot help?
Maybe one. I'm not sure. You know, the robot cooking my char kway teow still not very good. Still not very good yet. The wok hei is not there. So maybe eventually it will improve. But yeah, I think majority it would a lot of it can be assisted and aided by AI. Maybe there's one that I think it'll be hard to replace. Is more just the human touch in general, right? We don't want all to be. I can't remember what's that cartoon called, the ones, the Jetsons or something, right? Where all the time you just sit in a chair and then this chair can go all over the place and then the food just comes and then everything. I hope we don't end up as a civilization, looking like this. Yeah. But human touch would be the last one. Yeah.
Fantastic. So there you have it. A very well-rounded discussion of AI. I hope that this has opened the hearts and minds of those of you who maybe see AI as something that is scary, something to fear, something that is there to grab our jobs. It is there to enhance the productivity and to make your lives better. Whether you like it or not, AI is actually here already and it is here to stay. I think that it's time for us to embrace artificial intelligence. Thank you. I would personally like to extend a heartfelt thank you to Navin and to Leonard for spending your time with us today and imparting such valuable knowledge. This is not AI. By the way, these are real people. We invited real people here today. This one AI cannot touch, okay? So thank you so much for joining us on the Artificial Intelligence in Technology segment in the ADAPT convention. I'm Natasha Gideon. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time.